what news of Rob Dickie? Because his loan ended. Have you been able to get him back?
Yeah. There's no word in as far as they called him back, and that seems to be it. Because otherwise they'd have allowed him to come back pretty soon, sort of thing. So no, we thank him for his service. It's a shame that we can't get him back, but thanks to Reading and well done to Dickie. We've had a real good spell with him. He helped us get our promotion last year, and but he's gone back to Reading and he's got to compete for a place in their first team now.
Do you think that's completely dead? There's not going to be any chance later in January that you may be able to go back and maybe...
Listen, January's crazy, so yes, that's why I can't never give you a definitive on a yes or a no, because we will revisit it come the end of January, just in case Reading have seen it differently. So we don't know really what they're thinking. The reason for them bringing him back, they're saying, is that they want him as cover for the first team, and that's where he is at the moment.
The other one, that James Jennings came back for hours and then went back out again. Is that one that just didn't work out for whatever reason?
No, he didn't come back. We was discussing the deal with Morecambe. He couldn't go to another league club anyway because you can't have 3 clubs. And then Wrexham came in, and the thing with James was that he came in expecting to be in the first 11 every week, but he'd had a long-term injury. He'd had a cruciate injury that he'd recovered from, but hadn't had enough games to hit the ground running early on. So he played, and then Cranners played, and Cranners is going well, in my opinion. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea for whatever reason, but he's got a good future, Cranners, and he's strong and he's quick. So we put him in, and then James got a little bit despondent because he's 30 years of age and needs to play in the first team, which we understand. So we had a good chat together, and that's why he moved on. Now the situation is still the same at this point in time, so he needed to go somewhere where he was going to play games again, and probably nearer his home up north, because his family always watch him. And it's a shame that it sort of didn't work out, because he would have been good for us, a good leader and everything. He's obviously a good player, but as it turns out, everybody's okay with it now, and he's happy because he's got his regular first team games.
Two more to ask about. Dan Holman, obviously coming back from another injury, had his minutes at Colchester and still just looked a bit underdone, if that's fair. Is this intensive period of training you're talking about giving him the chance to really almost have a second pre-season?
Well, he's not trained with us this week because nothing to do with his other injuries. He got quite a hefty kick on his calf.
Right.
So it's something that's not anybody's fault, but it was a real hefty kick, and he's worked hard with the physios, but obviously he couldn't work with us with a swollen calf, and so we're waiting for him to. We'll assess him today to see whether he's anywhere near, but at the moment he's just been the unluckiest bloke in the world.
Do you just almost pull your hair out, just the fact that it seems to be one after the other with him? It just happens in football.
You do, but you have to feel for the player, because he is so desperate to play. He thrives on being dangerous, scoring goals. He knows that the manager's been giving him games when maybe he's not 100%, just to get that feeling of all the work's not a waste of time, sort of thing. He needs to play, but of course, unfortunately, he's got a couple of knocks, one on his ankle at Cambridge since he's been back, and then a kick on his calf, which was quite a big kick. It weren't just a bruise; it was like quite a big hematoma, they call them. When they're when it's a
deep
like
deep
a
in the
deep
muscle.
one. Yeah, it's like we get a dead leg, but you got it in your calf, sort of thing. So unfortunate, but and he's lower than a snake's belly at the moment, and we're going to have to get him fit and try and pick him up ready for the remainder of the season when he's ready.
Is there any news on when Asa Hall could be back with you?
Ace has been training with us the last 3 days, normal, so that's good. He's worked really, really hard. Every day you see him running around the training ground and striding out, and he's done well because he wants to get back pretty quick. And I don't think it'll be too long before Asa becomes available because he's looked quite sharp in the training.
You just finally, you rested what you called the stalwarts at Colchester, the spine of last year's side, saying that they just needed to be taken out for a game to recover. Are they now back in the group, and are you selecting from them and the fresh youngsters that you selected from Colchester?
Yeah, they'll always play a part in my thinking when I'm going into games, and we did use them for many games, especially after they'd only just come back from injury, like Downsy, and then Stoz had to play straight after his long layoff sort of thing as well, and so they're all doing their little sharpness. They're all working in the afternoons. With all due respect, Bart's is another one that people say, where is he? And we needed to get Bart's a little bit fitter. Some people have problems with different bits and pieces, and there's a particular something that we needed to work hard with him, and he's done that, and he's back in my mind for games, and I'm pleased with the progress that they're all making, because we sit down and we talk about their individual strengths and weaknesses, and some of their weaknesses they've had to work on because we're at a different level, and so we've given them this week or two to say, right, here's your programme, this is what you got to do. We'll do your hydration, we'll do your body fats, all those things that we need to do. We'll check, see whether you're jumping higher than you was. We got a jump test and all that, see how high they jump and all that sort of stuff. And all that put together tells us whether they're ready again.
And the results have been yes, no?
Well, the results have been good on all of them, yeah. So I answered your question and say, yeah, they're all back in your thoughts. They needed that break.
Thank you, Gary.